I got my India shirt on too.
Hey, awesome. I love it. Thanks for joining me, Linda. This is Linda Karl, and this is Grant Venable with Be the Change Volunteers. I asked Linda if she would tell us about her experiences on her many trips to India with Be the Change Volunteers. Linda has been involved in BTCV, serving as a volunteer, team leader, advisory council member, and now as a member of our board of directors. So essentially, Linda is my boss, or one of my 7 bosses. Linda served on every single volunteer team to Bihar, India since the year 2013. So she's been many times. She's helped build it all and really has been an essential part of that project, an advocate for local project partner Janoy, Babalu, and the members of the Chakartha village where FACT Academy is located. Linda, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Grant. That's too kind.
I'm going to jump right in. Linda, you've been to India several times, but I want you to go all the way back and tell us about your very first trip to India.
Okay. Well, like you said, it was in 2013. That was my first trip with Be the Change. So I was getting thrown into not just India, but Be the Change volunteers. At that time, the trips were 2 weeks long, and that's a long time to be away from your normal life. But that's what was necessary at the time, and that's how we did it. I remember going and talking to my travel nurse, and she said, the most dangerous part of your trip will not be illness or insect bites or animal bites or the risk of being kidnapped, because we were going to the human trafficking capital of the world. But that wasn't the biggest risk. The biggest risk was going to be travel. And I soon found out when we got off the plane and got into a caravan of cars that we were going to be traveling on roads that were also traveled by camels and elephants and vehicles going the wrong way and buses and motorbikes and peasants drying their grain on the concrete and everything coming at you in every different direction, and cows. But that really was kind of a wake-up call for me, because I hadn't been to a place that was just so chaotic from the moment you got off the trip or got off the train or plane or wherever you got on. I also called it an assault of your senses, because the smells are different, the colors are different, what you're seeing is different. It's just an assault, a vibrant assault. And I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. It's just different. It's different from what you might have at another trip. But the best thing I remember is driving up to the school. And I remember you were so giddy because you were excited to show people India, and we were all excited as well. But there was a little tiny sign that said Be the Change Volunteers on our school when we drove up. I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you got it there in advance, but it was on the school, and it was just a little plot of land that had bamboo, just a couple bamboo buildings. And what I remember is our partner, Janoy, he had a dream for that place, that community, that school. And he started, with basically nothing, laid it all on the line. And every single person that was involved from the very moment, they were ragtag volunteers, they were some paid tradesmen, but they were all in it for this school. And you could just feel it when you got on the property. It still gives me goosebumps to think about it, just that, how extreme it was. It was just one of the most beautiful places that you could drive up to.
Yeah, that was incredible, and definitely a lot of virtually everything that went right on that first day was thanks to Janoy and his expertise in the area. He had invested so much time in that community long before BTCV came along. And so I have to give all the credit to him and Bablu and the local leaders there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're very fortunate to have partners like that. So Linda, I think one of my favorite things to see when we return to the village each year is how you recognize and remember individual students and teachers, and you even recognize members of the construction crew, guys that I don't
Oh,
remember. And you're just pals with everybody. You know them by name, and you remember what grade they were in last year, and you ask them how they're doing. You've watched these kids grow up, and you really know them. Tell me about that part of Be the Change volunteers, because I think a lot of people see shoveling cement and passing bricks, which is important, but tell me about the relationship part.
oh my gosh. Well, it's easy to do when you're doing these phased approach to building, because each year, those people are excited, just as excited as we are to get there. They're excited to see us as well, because they're seeing their friends, somebody they know from all around, all across the US. And actually we had John from Ireland as well, but they see these people and they run to us and they want to be exposed to, us and what we're doing. One of the best part is seeing how much they've grown over the year, and how much more English that they know, and how much they want to show you, hey, they're doing well, and they are excited about their school, and they want to show us their homes and their village, and all the improvements along the way. I mean, the very first year we got there, it was like a potholed dirt road to the school. And over the years, you've seen that community has not only just bought into the school, but they've bought into the community as well. They've really improved the infrastructure. There's an elevated road with a speed bump in front of our school. There's trees alongside of the road. There's electricity now. And we used to have a latrine, in the back of this little bamboo hole.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's running water, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
A dream, huh?
It's a dream. I hope you ask me about the living circumstances as they compared to the past.
Because I promise I will. I promise I will. And maybe that can be part of your answer to this question. So tell me, what have you seen to be the most challenging aspect to the India project over the years? You can add multiple things if you want to talk about some of the conditions that the team stayed in, but also just the project itself relationally. Some of the things that Genoy has had to deal with as a community activist. What have you seen to be the most challenging aspects of the India project over the years?
Oh, goodness. Well, it's difficult, especially he has to navigate a lot of different personalities there. Mm-hmm. There's a Christian community there, there's a Hindu community there, and there's also a Muslim community. And you don't see that very often, where people are working together hand in hand to do something. But this is the school of all these people, not just one of those communities. And we hire tradesmen that are Muslim. We hire, or we have volunteers that are, pastors that are out, typically evangelizing. Those people volunteer, and we have, the community leaders, oh goodness, I think they're Hindu, I believe, but they are, they respect each other and work together. And I think that has been a challenge through the years, but they've learned that, hey, we're in this for this school, we're in this for the kids, so that they have a quality education. And we've proved by coming there and working alongside of them that school can be a success, and that they're seeing success in their students because they're moving to the next grades. In fact, I think their desire is that this be an ongoing thing, that this goes beyond the grades that we initially had planned.
Yeah, definitely. Inside of those religious differences, there's two major political parties in that part of
Yes.
India, and they sort things out much differently than we do here at the end of an election. So to see those people come together on site, that's always amazing for me also. I'm glad you brought that up. That's definitely a major challenge that Genoy deals with on a regular basis. But I think I've definitely seen how that's leveled out more and more and more every year. It's really been impressive.
Yeah, and I think there's still some residual caste stuff going on there. I mean, there are definitely low caste and higher caste people, but again, you know, there is a willingness to work together in order to accomplish, you know, school and education for these kids.
When you think about the first phases in India and the most recent phases, what have been the biggest changes for a volunteer's experience?
I remember at the beginning we did a lot of the manual work, but that kind of has, through the years, it's moved from that to developing relationships. So I remember when we started putting in the library, we had, this would be, I think, the third year I was there, but we had people just coming from outside of our community into our community to bring us money, donations of books, donations of people to work with us. It really makes it so that, you know, we can have relationships versus really work in the bamboo field, you know, that's disgusting. But we actually got to do some things that were kind of fun. One of the things we got to do was go to MBIT. Yeah, so
that experience specifically.
Yeah, the technical school. So I remember the very first time we went there. We've gone pretty much every year, I believe. But the very first time we went as an invited guest of a cook, and that was because we developed a relationship with him at our hotel. Right. He worked at our hotel the prior year, and then he invited us to come see us at the school.
Right.
So that was our
the MBIT University is a university in Forsgand, which is about 20 minutes from the school. So it's the city, and we're about 20 minutes out into the country. So that's the geographical marker there. Yeah,
but we'd pass by it every time we went from our hotel out to the school. And that was kind of the beauty of the travel. You got to see along the way, you know, what was going on in the community of Forsgand. Mm-hmm. But that first time we went to the school, to the college, it was nice. I mean, we got to see it, and they kind of knew a little bit about us, but not much. But this last year, my goodness, they threw out the red carpet. They honored us, they welcomed us, they invited us to come to a special assembly with all of their students and community leaders and their teachers. And it was so awesome to see how that relationship has changed. And I think it opened a lot of doors for Genoy and our school. In particular, I hope that at some point they will have some of their students volunteer alongside of us in the school as we're building, but also through the year, potentially, you know, being mentors to some of our students, allowing our students to come to their school, maybe on scholarship eventually. I just see that the relationship could really improve over the years, and we really opened some doors there with, you know, from a invite from a cook.
I love that you think all the way back to the very beginning, this cook at this hotel that made us chai every morning. Yeah. And he went to work for the university. And again, that was one where you remembered the guy, you know?
Of course, and, of course.
You know, it sparked this relationship now with the director of that school, Sergi. And we've been in touch with him from our office here. And as soon as things level out, we're really excited to keep that relationship going. But yeah, all of that from one little seed relationship with somebody who probably wouldn't be considered that important in the grand scheme of things. But if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be where we are now in that relationship. Hey, speaking
Exactly.
of relationships, to stay on the same subject, we had this invitation to go to the opening of a new temple. Can you tell us about that experience? And of course, I'm sure it's going to be one of those sensory overloads in your description, but tell us about how that came about, and tell us about how that was for you.
Yeah, I remember we got a formal invitation at the school. Somebody delivered it to us and opened it up, and it was this big invitation that, and I'm not quite sure how we formed that relationship with that individual. Was he maybe a volunteer?
A contractor.
A contractor.
Yeah.
That's right. We bought what from him?
Lots of materials from him.
Lots of materials. Okay, so yeah, so he was really excited to invite us to this temple opening. Now, it was on, I think it was on, Good Friday. It was on Good Friday. So that to me was kind of it's a relevant day in my life. And to go to a Hindu temple was a bit, overwhelming. But when we got there and they welcomed us, it was sensory overload. I mean, it's music and loud and color and lots and lots of people. It was a great community event. It's also a community center in that area. So they're going to be opening their doors to not just the temple, but it's also going to be a place where the community can go to and use. So they gave us the behind the scenes look. It was a great, wild experience. We took lots of pictures and we just had a lot of fun experiencing this as they were practicing their religion, and it was very respectful. We were respectful of them, and they enjoyed having us. I think they even brought out the news. I mean, the news was there, and they were, filming us there at the temple. It was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, that was such a cool thing. And again, years and years that we've worked on that relationship. And I think in this last year, I personally saw so much of it come to fruition and come to the place where I'd hoped it would always be.
Yeah.
So I'm just so impressed. It was very, very authentic. None of it seemed to be generated or created just for the sake of the volunteers being on site. It was real. It was raw. And I'm so
glad. I probably wouldn't have recognized. I mean, I recognized him, but I probably wouldn't have recognized him as well, as because he was really dressed up in his finest clothing, and
right.
It's different than what you would see as you're delivering stuff to the work site. But also, all of those vendors that we work with, they really extend Genoy a lot of credit.
Right.
And wait for us to get there. They know we're coming, and they count on us, and they advance him a lot of credit in order for him to start working on it in advance of us even getting there.
Yeah, the years have really developed an enormous amount of trust in ways that I'm just very grateful to the community and to the vendors in that area for. It's really amazing to see. Just from in my office, it's a lot of spreadsheets and WhatsApp calls and emails. Yeah. And so kind of the behind the scenes is exactly what you're talking about. The communities that we're working in are really developing trust for our organization. And it's because the volunteer teams are going and building the relationships. They're going and they're remembering the names of these people's kids and what grade they were in last year, and knowing the moms, and all of that has just really come to fruition. Hey, and let's go back to difficulties. So we used to stay at this hotel, and I'll describe it as a frat house. And I think these guys that ran it probably should be doing something else. They're not very good at running hotels. But without telling too many stories about the old hotel, in 2020, the team lived on site at the school. Now tell me about that experience.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was night and day. So first of all, we cut out about a 20 or 30 minute tuk-tuk ride from our school, or from our hotel into the school. So that really afforded us a lot of opportunity for a little more downtime and rest and replenishment and development of relationship, especially with those teachers. We wouldn't have gotten that because we're dirty and gross at the end of the day, and no one wants to talk to us when we're like that. So I take it as, you know, we had that time on site in order to further develop those relationships with the teachers specifically. So the accommodations were awesome because, for one, there was plenty of space for couples. So if you were there with your wife or significant other, I guess, you would have a private space, and that was really nice for them. And then we had a girls and a guys dorm area, and those were nice because, you know, we had beds, we had new, you know, it was new and they were welcoming. We had running water, heated water almost all the time, so that was nice. Something we didn't always get at the hotel. Then, you know, the best part of it, I think, is that it's quiet there at night. You can sleep and you can, you know, you can hear just peaceful community noise, not, you know, the blaring of a wedding or a funeral or a procession of some type that goes all night long. So yeah, it was definitely worth it for that because you could actually get really good rest.
I really enjoyed staying at the school. I think that was just night and day, as you described it, so much better for me. And being able to get up in the morning and have a cup of tea and walk around the village area. And at night, you know, going up on the roof of the school, and it was pitch dark, and it was the village, and it was so peaceful. And I got to tell you, I always tell people this: I feel safer staying in the village than I do in the city, no matter what continent I'm on. Those people are family, and they take care of you. Wow.
Exactly. And that really is key. I felt safe there as well. Even though you might have a locked door at the hotel, you also didn't know if people were going to come into the hotel or ransack our, you know, these were people we could trust, and they do take care of us. That community would not let anything happen to us.
Do you remember the year there was a tuk-tuk strike and you couldn't leave town?
I do.
So we avoided some of those delays also.
Yeah. I mean, we almost got into a fight over that.
We could probably sit here and tell about 100 great stories from India. And if we had time, we would. I just want to tell everybody how much I appreciate you and your contributions to this organization. We just could not, the mission wouldn't continue without people like you, Linda, and it certainly wouldn't have thrived in the way that it's thrived. So I just want to tell you thanks for being part of BTCV and for giving yourself completely to this. You know, we thank Tom, your husband, for his generosity to the organization. You guys are real, true changers, and we're just so grateful for everything that you do for us.
Oh, that's so kind. You're too kind. It's a lot of fun. I mean, the reason I go back is because of people like you and Jimmy and Christy and all the people that you meet along the way. I mean, they're just all, you know, loving heart people. I mean, they're people you're drawn to. So, you know, I can't wait till the next trip, you know, whenever that is, wherever that is. I can't wait.
Looking forward to it also. Linda, thank you so much for taking time with us today. Thanks for sharing your stories with us, and thanks for just investing in BTCV, you know, not just financially, but with your leadership ability, your team building ability, and all of your special talents. We're so grateful. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.